In the quiet town of Maplewood, Kansas, a retired man named Walter lived in a modest house on the edge of the main road. Walter was known for his calm demeanor and the stories he often shared about his younger days as a delivery driver. In his yard sat an old rusted truck, a relic from those hard-working years. The truck, once his pride and joy, had transported everything from farm produce to household goods. Now it stood idle, its once bright red paint faded to a dull orange, and its tires deflated from years of disuse. Walter had often thought about selling or scrapping the truck, but sentimentality kept him from letting go. To him, the truck wasn't just a vehicle. It was a symbol of perseverance and dedication. Over time, the truck became a sort of town mascot, and the neighborhood children loved to climb into its bed and pretend they were on grand adventures. One particularly hot summer morning, Walter decided to tend to his garden. He was humming an old tune when he heard a sudden, loud crash from behind the house. Startled, he dropped his watering can and hurried toward the noise. To his dismay, he saw the old truck at the bottom of an abandoned drainage pit. The pit had been hidden by overgrown grass, and the ground beneath the truck had given way, sending it tumbling into the hole. Walter stood at the edge of the pit, his heart sinking. The truck looked worse than ever, its body dented and scratched from the fall. He couldn't imagine how he could possibly get it out. Still, he wasn't ready to give up just yet. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood, and soon a group of neighbors arrived to help. Among them were Jim, the town's handyman, Sarah, a farmer, and a few of the local teenagers who had fond memories of playing on the truck. They all gathered around the pit, exchanging ideas about how to rescue it. "We could tie a rope around it and pull it out with my tractor," Sarah suggested. Jim shook his head. "The truck's too heavy, and the walls of the pit are too steep. It'll just slide back down." The group tried several approaches, but every effort seemed to end in failure. Hours passed, and the scorching sun made the task even harder. Walter, standing to the side, wiped the sweat from his brow and sighed deeply. "Maybe it's time to let it go," he said, his voice heavy with resignation. "The truck's had its day. We'll cover the pit and leave it to rest." The neighbors hesitated, but eventually agreed. They picked up their shovels and began throwing dirt into the pit, hoping to bury the truck and move on. Walter watched with a mix of sadness and acceptance as the first few shovels of dirt rained down on the old vehicle. But something unexpected happened. Inside the pit, as the dirt landed on the truck, it shifted under its weight and slid off the sides, settling beneath the tires. With each new layer of dirt, the truck's tires lifted slightly higher. Inch by inch, the truck began to rise. At first, no one noticed. Then, one of the teenagers shouted, "Hey, look! The truck's moving!" The group stopped and peered into the pit. Sure enough, the truck was slowly climbing toward the surface. Encouraged by the sight, they worked with renewed energy, throwing dirt faster and watching as the truck steadily rose. Walter's heart swelled with hope. "Keep going," he urged, a smile breaking across his face for the first time that day. The neighbors cheered as they shoveled, their earlier frustrations forgotten. After what felt like hours, the truck reached the edge of the pit. With one final push from the dirt below, it rolled back onto solid ground. The group erupted into applause, and Walter rushed to the truck, placing his hand on its hood. "You old fighter," he murmured, his voice thick with emotion. "I thought your time was up, but you proved me wrong." The neighbors gathered around, marveling at the truck's resilience. Sarah patted Walter on the back. "That truck's got more life in it than we gave it credit for," she said with a grin. Walter nodded, his eyes glistening. "It's a reminder," he said. "No matter how deep we're buried, we can rise again if we just keep pushing forward." Lessons from the truck. The truck's journey from the pit to solid ground is a powerful metaphor for resilience and determination. Life often throws dirt at us in the form of challenges, failures, and setbacks. It's easy to feel buried and overwhelmed, but like the truck, we can use those challenges as stepping stones to rise above. Every bit of dirt that seems to weigh us down can actually lift us higher if we refuse to give up. This story also highlights the importance of self-worth. Walter initially doubted the value of the truck, believing it was too old and broken to be saved. But the truck proved its strength and worth when given a chance. Similarly, we must never let others define our value. Even when we feel discarded or underestimated, we have the power to prove our worth by believing in ourselves and persevering. Lastly, the story emphasizes the significance of community. Walter's neighbors played a crucial role in helping the truck rise again. Their collective efforts and support made the seemingly impossible possible. In life, surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us and are willing to lend a hand can make all the difference. The old truck now sits proudly in Walter's yard once again, not just as a relic of his past, but as a symbol of resilience, hope, and the power of never giving up. If you've ever experienced similar stories in your life, don't hesitate to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments below. We would love to hear your story.